everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from the winter wonderland that is Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist,
The podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, we got more sort of on the front lines of the war on Christmas.
Yeah, except that what we've discovered is both sides are being fought by the same team.
It's a devilish trick.
It's a great war. It's actually really fun to sit back and watch. When you have the right perspective.
Yes, indeed.
And we will provide that perspective for you.
Yeah. If you've ever felt confused about your role in the war on Christmas,
You don't have one.
I understand your confusion. Because
Apart from saying
you're not a player.
Apart from saying, "Hey, government, stop spending a fuck ton of money on."
Yeah, I guess that
Christmas.
is one real part.
That's our real. That's our only
part.
real thing.
Yeah.
The rest of it is just them shooting back and forth at themselves.
All right.
So we'll get that taken care of.
Yeah. But before we get there,
Yeah.
I've got some. Since we just were talking about Christmas,
Yeah.
might as well just start with my one Christmas story.
Oh.
Which is
Is it about a manger?
No,
Oh.
it's about a parade.
Oh.
A Christmas parade.
Ooh.
Which is not a thing here.
No.
I've never heard of a Christmas parade before. Apparently,
I mean, I've heard of them like on private property at some, in one of those like winter wonderland lights sorts of things where they'll have like a little procession with Santa going through or whatever.
Oh. Yeah, okay. I suppose. Yeah, okay.
Disneyland.
Sure.
They have a thing.
Yeah, okay. No, this was a small town in Tennessee by the name of Troy.
Okay. I've met him.
About 1,500 people.
Okay.
In Troy. And they have their annual Christmas parade.
Well, fun.
And the whole town must both either be in it or show up. Otherwise, it's not much of a parade.
Otherwise,
it isn't much of a parade.
Otherwise, it's just people driving too slowly down a street in fancy cars.
One of the citizens of this small town, a man by the name of Dwight Tittle.
You can't look, Frank. If you're going to make up a story about a small town, you got to use realistic sounding names. That's just silly.
No, Mr. Tittle he signed up for a place in the parade. Mm-hmm. He had an idea for a float.
Great. This is going to go very well. I can already tell.
Which he wants to include a rainbow flag.
Oh, right. Dwight Tittle.
Right.
Come on.
But look, this is where he's coming from.
Uh-oh.
He wants it to the theme of the float is biblical.
Okay.
Right?
Oh.
And he wants to base the whole thing on a Bible passage in 1 John 4, 7 through 8, which is that love one another and God is love.
Oh, okay.
Verses, right? You know that whole thing?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. He says, all that says is we're just to love everybody.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to accept their lifestyles, but you can still love them. That's what we're about.
Yeah, Dwight Tittle, that's not going to go over very well in Tennessee.
Well,
small town Tennessee is not ready for your hippie Jesus antics.
A lot of the residents kind of latched onto the idea that it was really just about LGBTQ issues.
Yeah, of course it is.
And this is a pride float in their Christmas parade.
Which it 100% is. They are correct.
So, in response, the city of Troy has canceled the Christmas parade.
Oh my God! You
he
idiot!
Templed them.
Oh my God, he did.
Yeah.
He didn't even mean to. He was like, "This might work. I'll just try it." And they're like, "You just ruined all of Christmas for everybody in the whole world."
The city announced on its Facebook page that the parade would be canceled due to, quote, continued scheduling conflict. Well done, Troy.
We just couldn't figure out Christmas. When is it? Who knows? Does anybody know? I don't think so.
Yeah. So the mayor, Deanna Chappell, says that there is a possibility that the parade may happen on a different day, but unfortunately, a large number of people who typically volunteer, they just aren't available that day. They're just not available. So
we're looking for a day when Dwight Tittle isn't available to reschedule.
Anyone? Well, here's a day that might just work for them. A neighboring town, which also has a Christmas parade. What's up with Tennessee and Christmas parades?
I don't know. Something tells me we're going to get a bunch of emails that are like, my town has a Christmas parade. Because frankly, a parade is a thing where you have to stand outside, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to do that in winter?
I know. Union City, which is about 10 miles to the northeast of Troy. They're
10 miles away.
And they're having their own. On December 5th, they've invited Tittle.
Oh.
They're
showing how much better they are. They're just sticking it to Troy. Suck it, Troy.
So, yeah. So he said, I explained it to them, and they said, we don't see any problem with that. We welcome you guys.
Wow.
And he's like, that's all they had to do, right? That's all the town of Troy had to do. They just had to ask me what it is.
Yeah.
He's like, just because there's a rank. And his whole thing is, yeah, it is a reference to gay people. I guess he has a gay son.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, but it's about everyone.
It's just about loving everybody.
It's about inclusion and loving everyone.
There's no place for that in Christmas.
What is so wrong with that? Yeah.
There's no place for loving everyone in Christmas. That is not what Christmas is about.
No, it's not. That is you have missed the message of Christianity and Christ's birth, everyone, if you think it's about love.
Yeah.
It is not about love.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It's about Black Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
More to come.
We'll get to that.
That's coming up.
I'm going to talk about a judge ruling in favor of religious freedom. Now, normally on this show, in this country, when we hear about a judge ruling in favor of religious freedom, it just means more Christian privilege.
Yeah.
That is 99.99% of what happens in this country because we're backwards as shit.
Right.
However, good news on the front for in the fight for actual religious freedom.
Okay.
I'm not even sure. This might be a little sketchy, but here's what's happened. A young man named Scott Warren he moved to an area of Arizona where I guess it's Ajo, Arizona, AJO. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. Ajo, Arizona. Anyway, he moved there. He's a geography teacher. He moved there and heard about a bunch of migrants, illegals, crossing into America.
Oh,
and how many of them die trying to traverse the desert there?
Yeah,
because it's treacherous.
Yeah.
So a bunch of people who think that nobody should lose their lives just because they're, committing the misdemeanor of trying to get into a country that has more opportunity than the one they live in.
Right.
He went out. They all go out and they leave water, sort of, and supplies dispersed throughout the desert.
Right. Okay.
This pisses ICE off. Like the people who are in charge of making sure them illegals stay out are more than happy for them to die in the process. It just it just keeps their numbers down.
Right.
So they hate these people.
Okay.
Who are in their minds enabling these criminals.
Right.
Who are crossing through the deserts, not just helping people in need. Well, our friend Warren was charged with abandonment of property, essentially littering, for leaving jugs of water out.
Right.
and operating a motor vehicle in a wilderness area. All of these charges are meant to discourage and intimidate people from doing this practice.
Right.
Well, he went before the judge and said, "It is a tenet of my religious belief that I need to do this for these people because they are in need, and I need to help them." Now, what religion he belongs to is an interesting fact, which is that he is a nun. He is a person who is not affiliated with any particular religion. And yet he claimed this as a religious, as a tenet of his own spiritual beliefs.
Okay.
He was working in conjunction with a Unitarian Universalist group that does this.
Okay.
So he was working in conjunction with a group that is religiously affiliated, but he himself is not. Well, a judge, a district court judge, Rayner Collins, found him guilty of the vehicle charge, but acquitted him of the property charge.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The judge argued that even though they proved the government successfully proved that he abandoned property, the fact that he did so under as a tenet of his own religion exempts him from that particular breaking of the law.
So we now allow people to be sort of a religion of one,
right? It's questionable. It's a little, but I think morality. I think a person's morality is important, especially when it's a very justifiable morality.
Yeah, I know. So, but now, I mean, essentially, what you're saying is that there's almost like just you can object to it.
It's problematic.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It puts the judge in the position of deciding which religious beliefs are valid.
Yeah.
And therefore are worthy of not of allowing someone to commit a crime, essentially a crime.
Yeah,
and which ones
fairly minor.
Oh yeah, it's a misdemeanor.
Yeah,
but which religious beliefs do not allow you to do that. It's sketchy. I'm glad he's doing it. I'm glad people are out there doing it.
Yeah, I am too.
It's pretty immoral to let people just die in the desert.
Yeah. Regardless of
Yeah.
anything, actually. Yeah. Huh. All right. Okay. That's an interesting one. I'm going to have to mull that over.
Mm-hmm.
See how my initial reaction is I'm like, that is a can of fucking worms.
I agree.
That is not a great thing.
I agree.
I like that the judge allowed him sort of some space for his own conscience to. But it seems like in that the judge should have just threw that charge out
or something. Found another way to say,
and just say
this is this leaving water for other human beings is not the same as littering.
Right.
It is not abandonment of property. It is
this was the improper charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the message that should be sent to ICE.
Yeah.
Not. Well, you got to let him do it because of his beliefs.
Yeah. How do you enforce the law in that situation? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Dan, I don't know. If you've been following at all what's been going on in Iran, there's been a lot of protesting around the world.
Yeah.
And the one that I've been sort of mostly watching and following has been, everything happening in Hong Kong. Right, that sort of had my attention.
Right,
but I was aware of some things happening in Iran, and basically people have been. They're massive protests that have been erupting in Iran over the issues of the cost of living and increases in fuel prices have really sparked this mass movement that's happening now.
And it's not small.
No.
It's big.
It's big. It's very, very, very big.
Yeah.
And so a Quran expert went onto a TV and was interviewed about, what should we do with these protesters?
Yeah.
And so he references a verse from the Quran that, according to him, suggests that mutilation, exile, and public hanging of Iranian protesters is probably the correct thing to do.
Oh, sure.
He says that they should be tortured to death, not just simply killed.
Oh.
He feels that they must die a horrendous death.
Oh, my God.
That is what the Quran teaches.
It's a beautiful religion. It's a religion of peace, is what I've always heard.
Oh, that's what I've heard too.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a hard time finding that. According to Amnesty International, at least 143 protesters have been killed since the protests
I hope they were
started,
tortured.
on November 15th.
Yeah.
They say that other activists are saying that Amnesty believes the death toll to actually be significantly higher. These are the confirmed deaths at this point. Activists agree that it has to exceed at least 200.
And there's like thousands of arrests.
Yeah,
like 7,000 arrests.
Yeah,
or something.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so that's happening, and that's what these people are potentially facing. And I think whenever religion is kind of the culprit, I think we need to...
It's a country of laws, and yet those laws all bend to the religion.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they have a president, but then that president is subject to the whims of the supreme leader, who is an entirely different entity and just can make edicts, and then it's over. Not accountable to the people, not accountable to anybody, but Allah, who doesn't actually, in point of fact, exist.
He doesn't.
No. No, that's not a real person.
I heard that he is the one that exists. No, he doesn't.
No. It turns out none of them. The answer was none of them.
None?
Yeah. Weird, right?
Oh, my God.
So many people are getting that one wrong on the test. It's very interesting. None of the above. It's D, none of the above.
How many gods are still alive?
Right. How many gods do or have ever existed?
Oh, Iran. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well, that is bad. That's problematic.
That's really bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take us north of there and east to India.
India?
The exotic land of India.
India.
Where a man who has espoused atheist beliefs since he was a youngin' wants recognition of those beliefs. Now, India is a country that allows you to have documentation that says what your religion and caste are, because apparently that's useful, even though the caste system was theoretically gotten rid of by Gandhi. It wasn't. It's still around. And it can be useful, apparently, to have paperwork demarking your caste and religion.
Really?
Yeah.
Useful. In what way?
I'm honestly a little baffled by the whole thing. But, I mean, I assume that if you're in the good caste, you want everyone to be able to know.
Well,
if someone accuses you of being a Dalit, and you want to be able to prove that you're not.
Right.
Especially if you're like just one above that. You want to be like, well, I'm not the worst.
Well, is it maybe something, for like disadvantaged castes to be able to maybe qualify for, like
upcasting?
I would think maybe like, funding at college.
Oh,
or
sure.
something like that.
Maybe.
Assistance.
Yeah.
Some kind of public assistance, because I don't know.
I don't know either.
But okay.
Anyway, Ravi Kumar, whose name is now legally Ravi Kumar Atheist.
Oh, really?
Some people would say that atheist is my middle name, but it's actually his last name.
Mr. Atheist.
That's right. He applied for
That's commitment.
yeah, I know, right? He applied for this documentation stating that he has no gods and no caste. And initially, they gave it to him.
Oh.
And then they called him up and they were like, "Would you please return that? We don't believe that we can give you that anymore." So now he's fighting it.
Why can't they give it to him?
They don't think he needs it.
Because they're saying if you don't have a religion, we don't want to put. We're putting this down as your religion. You don't have one,
Right? Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that they want to take it away from him. He has appealed.
Okay.
And it's still in the works, I guess. But yeah, the High Court says the High Court says there is no need for me to have a certificate, but there is. When the government issues religion or caste certificates to people, I too have the right to have a certificate that identifies me as an atheist. I'm also a citizen of this country.
All right. Well, he's fighting the good fight.
I guess so. He's fighting a fight. I don't know what it means. Maybe it's hard to know.
This is the equivalent of that vanity plate story that we did.
Yeah.
Right? Like in this country, we just put it on our license plate.
Right.
Right? There they have a piece of their ID says it.
Yeah, exactly. Donor. You know? I'm an organ donor and also no Jesus, please. Or for him, no Krishna, please.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Please and thank you. Okay. I check no on Jesus and or Krishna.
All right. Well, Dan.
Yeah.
Here's something going on here in Salt Lake City.
Ooh. Our hometown.
Yeah. These stories pop up every once in a while of the LDS Church and the...
There happens to be a very important church in this city. There happens to be
headquartered here.
One church to rule them all.
Yes. However, within the sort of boundaries, the city, boundaries.
Yeah.
Right. Of Salt Lake City.
Right.
The church membership is actually going down.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
And as Mormons as people stop being Mormon.
Yeah.
And as remaining Mormons are like, get me out of this hellhole. Right. And they move to the south end of the valley.
Right.
There's a community garden up on 500 South by the university.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Maybe you've seen it. It's adjacent to an LDS chapel. Anyway, I used to live up in that neighborhood, and I know exactly the one that this article's talking about.
Okay.
That I found. Anyway, the church is consolidating some wards.
Okay.
And moving people, and actually they're shutting down some old historic meeting houses.
Oh yeah.
And,
yeah, that's right. I have read about that.
Yeah. And they're moving these other wards to this one building that's over there on 11th East and about 500 South.
Okay.
And this community garden on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Did I mention the community garden already?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's been just anyone. You don't have to be a member of that ward, or you don't have to be a member of the LDS Church, right? It's just been legitimately a community garden.
Oh, I'll bet people didn't even know it was owned. That the land was owned by the church.
People did, because the water comes from the chapel.
Oh, interesting.
And the church has always just been like, yeah, we don't care.
Interesting.
And so there's. Actually, Dave used to have a plot in there when he was in grad school.
Huh.
But there's 40 some odd plots. There's a small orchard. There's a bunch of beehives. It's been there for something like 42 years, 47 years, 43 years.
Okay.
And it's just considered a great little gem of that neighborhood. And there's also a lot of people. There's a large tall, high-rise apartment building just up the street.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, there's a number of people from there on fixed incomes. There's a little old age thing there, right?
Yeah.
They actually grow a lot of their own fruits and veggies. down at this community garden? Well, because of all the consolidation, they need more parking space.
Of course
Or
they do.
so they say.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, no, they do.
No, they don't. This actually has the community up in arms. People are really pissed off about this. They're effectively saying, you know, this is actually a neighborhood that's been urbanizing. It's walkable, and why are you putting in more parking when people can just get here by other means? Like, why not encourage your members to carpool, right? Why not encourage your members to walk over or to, you know, whatever, ride their bike, like something, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just paving over this asset that's been a part of our community for decades,
right?
And the church is just like, nah, sorry.
No,
we know best.
It was cute and all, but nah.
We know best. We're trying to save some money here.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want to keep these other wards going and these other old meeting houses.
I mean,
one of which is absolutely fucking gorgeous. The university ward.
Oh, yeah.
Right there across from the university.
Oh, yeah.
On, what would that be? University...
It's on South Campus. No, it's not South Campus.
What's
it's on
called?
University.
Is it on University?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's actually like this Art Deco gem.
Oh yeah.
Right? Back when the Mormons used to build interesting
houses. When somebody used to care about what the hell their meeting houses looked like, because now they're just sad.
Yeah, before they hired the people who designed Motel 6.
Right. I don't even think you're kidding about that.
It feels the same architectural firm.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I just thought that was like a little interesting story. Local interest. Mm-hmm. Mormons don't like community gardens. That's the takeaway.
It's their property, Frank. They can do what they want. Fuck your tomatoes. All right. Well, I have... the Flying Pope is at it again. I feel like 90% of the words that we actually hear directly from the Pope, as opposed to like written statements from the Vatican,
right,
are all done when he is in the air in an airplane, and there's 7 or 8 reporters there with him, and they ask him some questions. It's the only time he ever speaks completely freely. And it's very interesting. He was coming home from a trip to Japan.
Oh, nice.
Where he visited Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Oh.
And made some very strong comments about how the possession and use of weapons, especially weapons of that size, but weapons in general, should be immoral. Should be considered immoral.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I'm sure that'll piss a bunch of people off, but there you go. Apparently Catholics, you should all be against nukes. No nukes. He even went into like a little thing about nuclear energy. Like, until it can be totally safe. I think he's on sketchier ground there. But if you've seen, I'm sure he's been watching HBO's
Chernobyl. He's a huge fan.
And it's scary what could have happened, frankly.
It is scary what could have happened.
It very much is. I don't know how close to the science they actually stuck with it in that show.
Completely.
But, okay, well, says you.
100%.
Uh-huh. But yeah, I mean, those things are dangerous. Scary things can happen.
Well, especially a poorly designed one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we can't trust all of them to be beautifully designed. Anyway, the thing that really struck me is a story that we may have missed. But
how?
I don't know.
We cover all of it.
We don't miss a thing.
All the news here.
All the news that's fit not to print. We cover it. Anyway, apparently, there have been. I mean, we've talked about the financial scandals at the Vatican. We've talked about money laundering and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, and I maybe we did talk about this a little bit, but there have been arrests by the Vatican's own police department of people within the Vatican. Tommaso Di Ruzza, who was the director of the Vatican's anti-money laundering entity, was arrested, along with 4 other Vatican employees. Actually, this happened so recently, maybe we didn't miss it. I haven't seen any articles about it, except for this one where he was answering questions about it. So there you go.
Okay.
Anyway, 4 other Vatican employees, including a clergyman, were arrested, as well as Di Ruzza. All are being interrogated by the Vatican police.
Wow.
So, Pope Francis sees this as a positive thing because this wasn't arrests by exterior sources or demands for arrests.
Oh, yeah.
This was the result. He said of inside investigation and his commission to root out the bad actors within the Vatican.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's pretty interesting.
I mean, how much of an investigation do you need? Right? Like, there's not that many people there.
Literally, all you need to do is go, hey, we want access to our files. Okay. Who are you? The police? Yes. Okay.
We have those?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
See?
I didn't know we had a police thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, here you go.
Well, both of you, come on in. Our entire police force, come on in.
Yeah.
And investigate this. And apparently, they're one of the things that they were doing is investigating investments by the Vatican Secretariat of State into what this article calls underperforming prime real estate in London. And they were doing so using funds from what they call the Peter's Pence, which is funds collected to be used for charitable purposes. But apparently they don't have a problem with that being used as investment. That to me is baffling.
Well, I mean, if the investment makes money, then they've been good shepherds of...
Yeah. Eventually, at some point, theoretically, it gets given to charity. Maybe,
like after a couple yachts get purchased.
Yeah.
And...
I mean, we're the Catholic Church. We are a charity. What do you want? Screw you. Anyway, there you go. Even the Pope said there's nothing wrong with investing in what he called widows' investments, meaning little investments, safe little investments. But that's not what this was. This was highly sketchy investments that made a whole bunch of middlemen very rich, while, who knows what's happening to all this charity money.
All right.
So there you go. The Pope is able to talk when he's on the plane.
He doesn't have keepers.
They can't stop him.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you have anything you'd like to add about this or any of the stories that we've covered so far, you can write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, hey, go to the Facebook page, please. Facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Click like.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. Is a closed group, but we will let you in.
Yes, indeed.
Dan.
Yes, sir.
Rick Wiles. That's who we're listening to today, right?
Yeah, we've heard from Ricky Boy before.
He when I first heard a clip from Rick Wiles, and I really didn't know who he was, I kind of just thought he was sort of blandly evil.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he's just sort of your run-of-the-mill dickhead Christian, right?
Yeah.
You don't think of him as much, but apparently he's going to say the thing out loud that is supposed to be kept in your inside voice.
Well, and he's been saying this more and more, from my understanding. Again, I don't watch him. Except for these clips that we.
Here's the thing. I apparently, you hear all about how the rise of Donald Trump has emboldened certain types. And certain conversations are now people are feeling free to have them. And I've often said that all conspiracy theories in the United States, especially, eventually, they may wind around to all sorts of different places, but eventually the fingers all point in a single direction.
Oh, what's that?
Well, he's gonna spell it out for us.
Oh.
Usually you're supposed to say it in a way that is coded. You're supposed to be clever about never saying the actual thing.
Right.
You got to have all these codes for it. But he actually decided to say the thing.
Let's hear it.
That's the way the Jews work. They are deceivers. They plot. They lie. They do whatever they have to do to accomplish their political agenda. This impeach Trump movement is a Jew coup. And the American people better wake up to it really fast, because this thing is moving now towards a vote in the House and then a trial in the Senate. We could have a trial before Christmas. This country could be in civil war at Christmas time.
That's right.
Members of the U.S. military are going to have to take a stand, just like they did in the 1860s with the Civil War. They're going to have to decide, are you fighting for the North or the South? Members of the government are going to have to take a side. Instead of north, south, it's going to be left or right. People are going to be forced, possibly by this Christmas, to take a stand because of this Jew coup in the United States. We have weeks to stop it. That's why I'm speaking out. That's why I'm putting everything on the line, saying this is a coup led by Jews to overthrow the constitutionally elected president of the United States. And it's beyond removing Donald Trump. It's removing you and me. That's what's at the heart of it.
That's right.
You have been taken over by a Jewish cabal, a Bolshevik revolution, and I'm going to tell you, the Church of Jesus Christ, you're next. Get it through your head. They're coming for you. There will be a purge. That's the next thing that happens when Jews take over a country. They kill millions of Christians.
Well, it's all in the playbook.
Holy fucking shit. This is like, we always joke at the end of these things because it's always funny to us, like whatever these people, crazy lunatics say. But that's like, this is Nazi shit.
It's a Jew coup.
It's a Jew coup. I mean, let's be honest. That's a cute phrase.
It's a Jew coup.
He's come up with an adorable phrase for his anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
His
really disgusting, like
overt.
It's kind of shocking.
It's very shocking.
You're not used to hearing people say stuff like that outside of some kind of World War II film.
Yeah. Honestly, and
then I don't even think the Germans were that tacky.
I mean, somebody was.
They were.
They were
awful.
They were
wretched.
There were plenty of people.
I made a bad joke.
But the truth is, like I say, you're supposed to cover this up with words like globalism. That's code for anti-Jew, for like, the Jews are coming for you.
Right.
Hollywood is code for that.
Yeah.
You talk about George Soros, it's because of the Jews. Yeah. Like all of those are the code words, but they're not saying the Jews are trying to do a governmental coup attempt to take over the country.
It's wild.
To purge the country. We're talking about less than 2% of the country purging the country
Right.
of 70% of the country.
Right.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. You fucking.
Well, Dan, people are going to have to decide. I mean, there's going to be a civil war at Christmas.
Oh my
time.
God.
At Christmas.
By
time.
Christmas. Oh my God.
Civil war.
Civil
at
war.
This Christmas. Don't they know that it's Jesus' birthday? Nobody's ever gone to war around Christmas.
Oh my God. Well, and civil war. All of this talk of civil war is so fucking
Making me
dangerous.
crazy.
It's
making me
like
crazy.
because no, there's not supposed to be a civil war when the process that we're going through is absolutely the constitutional process.
Absolutely.
We're going through the process outlined by the rules of the game.
Yes, he was elected.
No one's denying that.
Yeah, that is a fact.
Right.
He was elected.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he can do any fucking thing he wants.
Right, exactly. And what we're doing is the correct thing, which is if a large group of Americans say what he's doing is unacceptable,
Right.
then our representatives have to investigate that. The whole thing is the exact correct process.
Right. Kind of a little bit to the side of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Did you see the story this week about it was a federal judge deciding something with one of these Trump executive privilege, something or others. I can't remember exactly which story it was connected to. Because let's face it, there's a lot to keep track of these days. The judge in his ruling wrote that a president is not a king. He actually
Yeah.
said it because he felt like he needed to point that out.
Yeah, exactly. Just a quick reminder
Yeah.
about how a constitutional democracy ends up working.
He ain't the king.
Yeah.
And it's a nice gentle reminder of what the whole thing was all about from the beginning.
Right. He's not even the CEO of the
No.
country.
No. Thank God he's not.
No.
He thinks he is.
He thinks he is.
Ugh.
All right. Well, okay, everybody. I want you all let's shake it off. I want you to breathe in some good feelings. We're going to breathe out all that negativity. And we'll read some emails that we got from the folks.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Claire wrote into us from Buffalo. Dear Frank and Dan, this summer my cat had escaped for 9 days. Long story short, bats got into the apartment, cat got out. I had to get rabies vaccinations. That sounds delightful, Claire. I put out a have a heart trap. I've never heard of that, but it sounds nice. And she finally went into it at 4 a.m. in the middle of a raging thunderstorm. I had to go to my work study job at a local community college that morning. I'm disabled, 58, and retiring and retraining for a new career. But I was so giddy with happiness over the return of my cat that I stopped on the way to pick up some baked goods for my coworkers. Nothing fancy, just crap from the grocery store. I put signs on the pastries that read, "The prodigal kitty has come home, like the father in Luke chapter 13, verses 11 through 32. I have killed the fatted muffin so that we can have a feast." Cute. When Pam from Taiwan and Maria from Argentina came in, I almost said Argentina.
Oh, hey.
I'm so
Muy auténtico.
See. I'm very erudite. I don't know if you know this. Anyway, yes. When Pam and Maria came in, I had to explain the proverb of the prodigal son so that they would get the joke, even though Argentina is a Catholic country. That's not right, said Maria. That's so unfair to the good son. The prodigal son was a jerk. Pam agreed, saying, "The poor good son. He works very hard for his dad. The bad son wasted all his dad's money. Dad is wrong to reward the bad behavior and the bad son. The bad son is no good. He needs to go." I didn't have the heart to tell them about the proverb of the laborers in the vineyard. Which is another one. She's right. They're both horrific proverbs. The laborers in the vineyard. Do you remember that proverb?
I probably would remember the story. What is it?
It's so a man hires a bunch of laborers in the morning. They agree on the price for a day's labor.
Right.
And they go out to work on in his household. Then a few hours later, he goes and he sees some other folks standing around, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to work for me?" And they're like, "Sure." And he's like, "All right, get out there." And throughout the day, he keeps hiring people until like even at the 11th hour.
Oh yeah.
Of a 12-hour workday, I guess.
Jesus Christ.
He hires some people.
Yeah.
And then he gives them all the same full day's wages.
Oh.
At which the early day laborers are like, can I call bullshit?
Right.
Because that guy worked 1 hour and I worked 12, so how about a little extra for the 12-hour worker? To which the homeowner in the parable says, "No, fuck off." And that's the Lord to us, apparently, somehow in the parable.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
That, just because you arrive to ostensibly Christianity later in your life,
right,
you can still have the full reward.
You get the full reward. Everybody gets the full reward.
That's what the parable is trying to teach.
And so one interpretation of that is that that's what the parable is trying to teach.
Okay.
So the parable apparently is trying to teach, hang on for as long as you can to non-Christianity.
Right.
And then just take it up right at the end there.
Or better yet, always show up to work late.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Anyway, thanks, Claire. That's cute.
Yeah.
Todd wrote into us.
Oh.
I think he added. There was an accidental extra D.
No, I think it's Todd with 3 Ds.
It's a 3D Todd.
Yeah.
Anyway, 3D Todd says...
No, he's a donor. He's a supporter.
Yeah.
He's Todd with 3 Ds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks to Todd. I like 3D Todd.
3D Todd's pretty good.
I'll bet he is in 3D. Like if you see him in person,
yeah,
I'll bet he's 3-dimensional.
Who wants to be 2D Todd?
Yeah, don't be 2D Todd. Anyway, 3D Todd says, while watching an old episode of the short-lived This American Life show on Showtime. Do you remember that one?
It was cute, yeah.
Yeah, I think I only saw the first episode. Anyway, I was kind of floored by a segment having to do with Mormon folk. The episode is titled God's Close-Up. Most of what I know about the Mormon religion I learned from you fellas, but I started listening to you relatively recently, so maybe you've covered this, but what the fuck? Mormons frown on beards? I thought you were all a bunch of bearded cats. The episode is about much bigger things, but I still feel you guys should have told me about the beard thing. So the beard thing is interesting because, a lot of the early Mormon leaders are quite hirsute, facially speaking.
Yeah.
They have very big beards, including starting with Brigham Young, who was the second leader of the church, who had a big old beard and often no mustache, just
it was
beard.
a good look. It's always a good look.
It's a handsome one.
Yeah.
There you go. And then other guys that had, beards down to their bellies.
Crazy beards.
Like really beardy boys.
Yeah.
And then there was a switch.
Yeah.
At some point along the way, I'm going to say
there was a
60s.
goatee, and then it was done.
Was there a goatee?
I think there was a goatee, wasn't there?
I don't remember. But at some point, I'm going to say around the 60s, the 1960s.
Okay. Yeah.
The Mormon Church decided we want to present ourselves as the clean-cuttest church.
Well, they bought into American corporate culture.
Oh, yeah.
And including its grooming standards. And grooming standards.
It is the corporatist of the churches, I think, in the world.
Yeah.
So while in terms of like church membership, there's no actual prohibition on beards, nor is there a prohibition on things like men with long hair.
I mean,
it is frowned upon.
I mean, BYU does have a prohibition on beards.
Well, and if you're in church leadership,
and if you're a missionary, you can't have a beard.
And if you're an employee of the church,
right?
My dad spent his entire life working, or his entire life while I was alive,
right,
working for the church, and he said it, and it was true. His retirement day was the last day he shaved. He grew a beard and kept it, but he had a mustache. You could have a mustache, but that was pushing
that's right.
things.
That's right. Yeah, it's a little frowned upon, but permissible.
Yeah, they just wanted to be so clean cut and good.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyone who goes to BYU, not only are you signing that honor code to make sure that you don't go out there and have sexy times with anybody
Or drink alcohol.
or any of that stuff,
Yeah.
but also a man's hair will not grow past his collar, the collar
correct.
on his shirt.
Yep.
And he's not allowed to have a beard without a note from a medical professional saying he can't shave.
It goes beyond having a note. The note then has to be taken in. You actually have to get a beard card.
Yeah, you have to carry around with you a card that must be produced if any campus police have a question about your beard.
It's not enforced in that way. It's enforced that in the following ways. You cannot check anything out from the library. You cannot take a test at the testing center.
Oh my God.
Your professors are supposed to enforce it, but it's kind of
Right.
the ones I had didn't really care about such things. So you could show
Yeah.
up a little,
A little shaggy.
but whatever. Turned out there was a kid in one of my Italian classes that the reason he always wore a hat is because he had long hair.
Oh, and he had it tucked up
He had
inside?
it tucked up inside.
Oh my gosh,
And
that
so
is
he would
funny.
show up to class always with that hat on.
Wow.
And then somebody figured out, oh wait, he's got long hair.
There was a period of my life in my early college career, many moons ago, where I had long hair and a beard. I was a very Jesus-looking fella.
Yeah. I mean, not really because you're white, but you're white Jesus.
I was a very
You were
Mormon
Mormon
Jesus looking
You were
fella.
Mormon Jesus.
Their idea of Jesus looked like me, and I had to go to the BYU campus, and I was going. They had something in their library that the U's library didn't have.
Okay.
And I was going to their library to just check that out. And I'm walking through their campus, and I just remember thinking, oh, this is what black people in Utah feel like. Because I didn't feel any sense of menace from anyone, but everyone was watching me.
Oh my
just
God.
staring at me as I walked across campus.
And imagine if you had been black.
Yeah, I actually don't know what that experience would be, but I was just like, just having everyone notice me and watch me.
Yeah.
It felt so weird.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All these heads sort of just turning. and
just
walking.
they don't even notice that they're doing it. They're just watching this anomaly cross their.
You don't belong here.
Well, I know that's not right. I don't
What
know
is he doing?
Anyway, yeah, they're they don't like to be. A matter of fact, this is what's really messed up. My brother-in-law, who's still Mormon, he had a big old like Duck Dynasty thing going on.
Oh, yeah.
long hair,
Really?
big old beard.
Who? Your brother-in-law?
My brother-in-law.
Really? Okay.
He was just, he marches to his own drummer for sure.
All right.
And then he got a new bishop in his ward.
Oh, boy.
Which means it's like the parish priest, except that it was just another member of the ward who was called to do it now.
Right.
Just different guy down the street. And
Right.
this guy decided that he was gonna whip that ward into shape, and told him to shave his beard and cut off his hair.
No. Did he?
He did.
Ew.
Which he didn't have to do. Oh yeah, it was gross and it felt bad. Anyway, now he's got Anyway, all right. This one's an interesting one, and I'm reading it so that we can. I'm enlisting the help of you, the listener. We want to hear some feedback about this one. Alice wrote into us. This is in reference to a thing we did last week where we were listening to. We had a Patty break.
Yeah.
And Pat Buchanan.
Pat Robertson.
Wrong bigot. Sorry. Pat Robertson. I knew it was wrong. It just sounded wrong in my head. But anyway, that's what came out.
It's fine.
Pat Robertson said some nasty shit about some trans folk.
Yes.
And was very concerned about it and
Right.
could not figure out how anyone could consider trans things okay.
Right.
In any way.
Right.
And I made fun of him.
Yeah.
But there was a way in which I made fun of him that Alice wanted to object to. So, Alice writes, please be more careful in how you joke about the trans community. I understand that you are trying to pan Pat Robertson's misunderstanding of transgender surgeries, surgeries, people, and rights, but, quote, they're cutting off their ding-dongs, unquote, that was a quote of me saying that,
right,
is a trope I hear frequently on transphobic comedy routines or even in real life from strangers. It's not something that should be joked about in that manner. Love the show and your usually very trans-friendly podcast. Thank you. So I want to throw... I've been mulling this one around for a minute.
Yeah.
Because, yes, I was taking the part of making fun of the anti-trans person.
Right. So
when I said
something...
I was just saying something...
ridiculous.
I was making fun of their cartoonishly stupid approach to the trans community.
Right.
But I said something that obviously had an impact on Alice.
Right.
This is a tricky thing for people who try to try to be funny. In that, you know, the only thing I don't have an analogous experience to Alice on this. Right. What I have is things like, I know that when my dad died, I heard a comedian joking about death, and that was hard on me. Right. It was rough for me to hear. But the question is, do we then say that we can't make jokes about anything? Like, where's the line drawn?
Well,
and I think that there is a line to be drawn. It's important.
I mean, death is part of all of our experience.
Right.
And so I think that it would be easy to say in that regard that that's how that one does sort of stray from this
again,
situation.
I'm not trying to say that it's analogous. I'm trying to say that it's that's the entry point that I have to this thing where yes,
a joke
that could be funny,
right,
still had a sting to it, still had an ouch to it,
right.
And so I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, this is the thing where you and I, Frank, are categorically pro LGBT on all fronts, and especially, you know, we're very much in favor of the trans community. Yeah. We want to be very much supportive.
And we've worked hard to, you know, try to understand and to present how we talk about the trans community in
a way that will be supportive and good.
But knowing where you can joke and where you can't joke, like you say, is really tricky.
Yeah.
And
I have trans friends for whom that joke that I made is fine.
Okay.
So I just want to hear from our listeners. I want to hear, especially trans listeners.
I think we should hear from the trans listeners on this.
So I know we know we have more than just Alice.
Right.
So trans listeners, if you feel like it, love to hear your
take.
Help
us understand this better
on where the line should be drawn.
I think it could be a valuable conversation.
Yeah. The reason I bring it up is not because I want to prove Alice wrong, but rather I want to understand better. And I think all of our listeners could benefit from a greater understanding as well. So thank you, Alice, for writing in. Anyway, and finally, the last email I'm going to read. Hey, guys, this is from Kendall. Hey, guys, this Thanksgiving, I'm grateful for you two.
Oh.
Aww. I've only been listening to your podcast a few months, but it's my favorite. I transitioned from Baptist to agnostic throughout my college career. My question is, how do I tell my super religious family the truth about my non-religious views? Honestly, I have played religious to avoid hurting/worrying them. Their religion is a reality to them. I don't want to be bombarded with questions or worse, prayers, or risk getting cut off. Should I wait until I'm 100% financially stable? How did you two do it? Thanks, Kendall. We have talked about this a little bit before, and I don't know that there's a definitive answer to this. It's I wish I could say that there was a perfect time or guarantee that you're not going to have real problems.
Yeah.
As you come out to your family.
Right.
There is no guarantee on that front. A lot of families are shit about it.
Yep.
I think one of the things that we've said in the past that I think still holds very true is that you have to think of this as a long, long, long conversation. It doesn't just last one conversation. It lasts for years.
Right.
As they acclimatize to your new position and as you acclimatize to them, and it requires a degree of patience unfairly on your part toward them. Yeah, it's sad but true that if you want to keep these relationships, you'll have to do the bulk of the work.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And it'll be about accepting them, and it'll be about being patient while they're dicks, without meaning to be, or meaning to be, one of the two.
Quite honestly.
And some people do lose family members over this issue.
Yeah.
Mind you, it's also that it safeguards your sanity to be able to be you. It's a very lonely position to be in, not to be able to be yourself.
Well, if you're not you, who are you?
Well, apparently you're them. So, yeah, I mean, if you're financially dependent on them, that can be tricky.
Yeah, you kind of just have to, do a little cost-benefit analysis.
Yeah. Ask
Like-
yourself some very real questions about what would happen if you were cut off.
Yeah.
And if you can't afford to be cut off just yet, think about that.
Yeah.
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
You're young, you've got a lot of time ahead of you, but it does suck to not be yourself, not be able to be yourself with the people that you love. So,
God.
there you go.
But best of luck to you.
Best of luck. We
Let us know how it goes.
Yeah. We always like to hear stories about how these things are going.
Yeah.
Hey, we got some folks to thank?
We do. We have our top donor,
Oh.
our Lord and Savior, who's been helping us out with our campaign to go completely ad-free.
Yeah, that's
fully
the goal.
listener supported. We have a bunch of supporters who've been helping us, obviously,
Yes.
but this is our top donor, Davis. So thank you very much for all of your support and to the ongoing support of our entire
Patron base.
all of the patrons.
The TGIA Army.
Yeah, and if you'd like to join them, you can go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the support tab.
Yeah.
There's instructions.
It's super easy. You
No-
you get to choose how much you give. You don't have to give a lot.
No big deal.
We're going by numbers here. We're going for a number of listeners,
Yeah.
not for a numeric like dollar value. So give whatever you can,
Yeah.
and then you're helping.
Yeah. We super appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Dan.
Hey,
War on Christmas?
it's
Is there?
Let me tell you, we are currently recording the day of this recording. Black Friday.
Black Friday. It'll post on Black Saturday.
Is that a thing? Do people say that?
Oh, it's Black Saturday.
Oh my God.
Watch out, everybody.
Well, and that what that makes the next day? Black Sabbath.
Sunday. Oh, Black, yeah. Well, Black Saturday's Black
I'm going to
Sabbath for some
play.
people.
I'm going to play Aussie this weekend.
Well done.
Because Black Sabbath is awesome. Anyway,
and then there's what? Cyber Monday.
blah blah blah.
It's cyber every day.
Here's what we decided. What we were talking about earlier today. The idea that these guys, like, if a retailer who has like dabbled in Christmas, let's try putting up a tree this year. If the next year they don't put up a tree, these Christian nutballs will come down on them like a goddamn anvil.
Yeah. What
in
have
a
you got
cartoon.
against Christmas?
What the fuck?
What have you got against Christmas?
Why do you hate Christians?
Yeah.
This is a Christian country.
You don't love Jesus.
We're not going to shop
Hate
here.
Jesus.
Anyway, they come out of the woodwork.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if your coffee cup is Christmassy one year and then isn't
not
the next,
Christmassy enough.
not
the next
yeah,
year.
right. Or if God forbid you use the word holiday in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
But that's the thing, is that on Sunday of the same week, those same Christians will talk about how consumerism is ruining Christmas and everyone's forgetting that Jesus is the reason for the season,
Right.
and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Well,
Pick one.
you have to choose. You don't get to be mad about all of the things.
No, that's their game.
That's their game, baby.
They're just angry. Angry Christians.
It's kind of delightful, though. Like we said at the top of the show, the real fact of the war on Christmas is that they're fighting both sides. Yeah. They are mad. They don't even realize it. They are mad at their own damn selves.
Yeah. And
you don't get to complain about the consumerism of Christmas,
right?
And then you buy all of the presents for your whole family,
Right. Now, I mean, there are those who I'll give some credit to that they make all their gifts.
Yeah.
Or I hand make all my gifts.
Yeah. There's that one. That crazy aunt who does it, and then everybody's like, "Oh, thanks.
Isn't that nice? Thank
Oh,
you.
what'd you get? Oh, it's a scarf? Look at the colors. Oh. Yeah, I got pot holders. Trivets.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Wow.
Let me
She's
tell you
so
something.
good. You want one of her.
She can knit.
Yeah.
That woman can knit.
Well, I think you would most likely crochet a trivet.
You shut your fucking mouth.
I don't think you would knit a trivet.
I will knit.
That'd be a very odd trivet.
I'll
I'm
knit
just
the
going to
shit
say.
out of a trivet.
No, you crochet them.
You knit once.
You do a nice double stitch.
You knit twice. You purl one.
Is that what it is?
And then you've got a nice little. You got lines going through your trivet.
No, I don't think that's a thing. That's decidedly not. A
Look,
thing.
we may not hear from trans people this episode, but we're gonna hear from knitters. The yarn community is going to come out in force on this one. We welcome it. Hit us up.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you guys clearly don't craft. You guys are not crafty.
yeah. Anyway,
I'm
yes.
not crafty.
Yeah. No, you're not. There is
Don't say it like you are.
Oh, I crochet.
No, you don't.
Have
you been crocheting?
No, I haven't been. I haven't done it for decades.
Oh, okay.
Because
I need a new crocheted blanket.
cool. There are
do.
stores for that.
I know. But I don't want to buy one.
Ooh, okay, well,
I want you to crochet me a blanket.
good luck with that. I'll bet you if you put the call out, you could get a listener to crochet you a blanket.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
No, don't do that. Anyway, just take the money you would have used on yarn and become a patron.
That's a great idea.
That's how you crochet Frank a blanket.
Oh.
Anywho, yes, there is always that crazy aunt who will make all of the stuff, and some of it's great, whatever. Yeah. The point is, Christmas time is a weird time to observe humanity.
Yeah.
Here in these United States of America.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one thing I wanted to mention, though.
Yeah, what's that?
I wanted to do our non-annual reminder to all of our listeners not to donate to the bell ringers for the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
They are a religion.
Yeah.
They are not a charity group.
No.
They do charity work.
Right.
But they are also wildly and vociferously anti-LGBT.
That is correct.
And there are so many better charities out there to give to. So definitely
many.
give to charity.
Right.
Even if it's just a little bit.
Right. Don't give to the Salvation
Don't
Army.
give to
In
the
fact,
Salvation Army.
You actually said earlier that you've developed a new habit.
Yeah, here's the deal. For the longest time, I was satisfied with just saying, hey, just reminding all of my friends, don't donate to Salvation Army. I'm no longer satisfied with that. I don't think that's enough.
Okay.
I am now going to, when I see bell ringers out in front of a store, I go into the store and I ask for the manager, and I say, do you support the LGBTQ community? If you do, you need to get rid of your bell ringers. You need to not allow the bell ringers to come here because they're anti-LGBTQ, and that's how I see it. Right. And I want you to know that every time I see a bell ringer in front of your establishment, I will assume that the establishment is anti-LGBTQ.
Right.
And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start putting some pressure on the retailers themselves not to allow the ringers of bells.
I think it's fantastic. And you know what? Send emails through their customer service support thing, whatever.
Definitely.
I got the olive bar back at the downtown Smith's, let me tell you.
Super equivalent. Well done. I feel like you haven't gone off topic at all.
I did it.
But the consumer has some power in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I think that we should, if you're a member of an LGBTQ association, maybe bring this up as a thing, as a concerted effort that people can be making to, no one's saying, all we're saying is now the pressure should be on the stores to not allow the bell ringers out in front.
I mean, and the thing about the Salvation Army is that it's so just a part of the holiday landscape in this country. The bell ringers.
It's not even questioned.
It's in movies. It's in TV shows. It's part of Christmas,
and they love that about themselves.
Yeah, and they've made it just this thing that nobody even thinks about. Nobody questions it. And
you were saying you were watching the football.
As I do.
As you do. You're such a sports nut.
No, as I put it, there was a sport on TV yesterday at Thanksgiving. And it kind of shocked me because there was the Salvation Army sort of little emblems or placards or whatever sort of all along in the background along the sideline or whatever.
Right.
And I was just like, if that was like anything else.
Yeah, the Church of Christ or
Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The Mormons.
Yeah.
Right.
It would be weird for any other religion to be sponsoring the football game.
Yeah. It'd be fucking weird.
But they don't seem to but they skate by. That's the thing. This is an education thing. We need to educate all. So tell your friends, post on your Facebook and just say, "Hey, this is reminder, that's a religion, not a charity.
Right.
Don't give them money.
Right.
They hate gays.
Right.
Give to charity. 100% give to charity. And hey, if you're posting on Facebook, wouldn't hurt to throw up the link to a charity that's good.
Yeah.
And give to them. By the way, congratulations to the Scathing Atheist guys and the guys at CogDis. They raised over $250,000 for modest needs for their pledge drive this year.
Crazy.
Their vulgarity for charity. They are amazing. So I think that's so awesome. So yeah, Modest Needs is a great charity. Find a charity of your choice and suggest it, but make sure that your people know that giving to these bell ringers is not giving to a charity. It is giving to an anti-gay religion.
Right.
And I don't like that very much.
Yeah, no, that's gross.
And it's weird for religious people to give a donation to another religion.
That is kind of an odd thing.
It's very weird for atheists to do it, but it's still super weird.
Yeah.
For people, people are like, "Oh, I'm Christian, I'll give to that." Right. That's a different religion from you.
Yeah.
You're giving money, you're paying tithing.
It's very different from your own.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Whatever your religion, I'll bet you don't have a rank.
Right.
I'll bet there's not a general.
Yeah.
Wandering around.
So odd.
Unless you're a Scientologist. And they're the Salvation Navy or something.
Well, all right.
Anyway, hey, it is now after Thanksgiving, so feel free
it is the
to celebrate the Christmas season however you choose to do it.
Or choose not to do it.
Or don't do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a bit much. I am putting a tree up.
Yeah.
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 I'm doing it.
Why not? It's I have no objection to anybody. Like, it's the shittiest time of year in the Northern Hemisphere here.
Yeah.
Especially the further north you get, the shittier it gets.
Yeah.
So, fight off the gloom and doom the best way you know how.
I like all the twinkling little lights.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's pretty.
Yeah.
I think it kind of warms up at least visually, the night.
Yeah.
It's not quite so bleak.
So,
I think it's great.
So go deck your halls and or not. I probably won't put up any new decorations here in my house.
Oh my God, how boring.
I'm a very boring person, so I've just accepted it about myself.
Damn.
And have a happy holiday. We'll talk to you again next week. But we have some folks to thank, we have some things we have to do. I don't know. I'll get to the business.
We've never done this before.
I'm new.
Never,
I'm new
ever
to podcasting, so everybody just cut me a break. Listen, if you want to write into us, feel free. Please do it. Whether you're into yarn or you're a member of the trans community, we want to hear from you. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
I think I was thrown off by the fact that you were actually like packing up your little.
I'm just getting ready to leave.
You were
I'm getting ready to
packing.
leave.
I was like, shit, we gotta end the show. Anyway, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click the like button.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group. We will let you in.
Yes, indeed. Thanks so much to Mackenzie for all of her work on the Facebook page. Thanks to Amy and Danny for being mods in the Members Only Lounge.
And a big thanks goes out to the Red Rock Hot Club and to Gordon Johnston for the use of their music.
And now we can really end the show. Thanks to you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.